economists agree with us. Build Back Better will clearly lower taxes, lower costs, raise wages, and economic growth, increase economic growth for the middle class.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki insisting the president's whopping $1.85 trillion and growing spending plan won't raise taxes on the middle class. But new analysis, well, it tells a bit of a different story.
That's right. The Nonpartisan Tax Policy Center says 20 to 30% of middle-income families will see a hike if Democrats pass the bill, with low and middle-income families paying an additional $100 on average.
And that doesn't even include, I would suggest, doesn't even take into account the cost of inflation on those middle-income families as well. So you add taxes on top of the fact that their dollar doesn't go as far, and you're looking at a massive tax increase on middle and lower-income Americans.
The reality is nobody knows. There's so many gimmicks.
There's so many gimmicks. The CBO is supposed to score. By the way, some Democrats are saying we're not going to vote on it until we get the CBO score. But the CBO score isn't even dynamic, so it doesn't really account for how it will affect the economy when some of these policies, especially the Green New Deal policies and the higher taxes, take effect.
Well, here to react is Republican Florida Congressman Cammack, who joins us now. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being with us. Tell us a little bit about these taxes on, and good morning to you, by the way. We're glad to have you on the show.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about these taxes.
Thanks for having me on. Good to see you on this Sunday.
Good to see you as well. 20 to 30% of middle class Americans looking at a potential. Walk us through that. How will they be impacted directly? Setting aside inflation, how will they be impacted by taxes?
Well, I mean, listen, we already know that this is the most expensive tax package in American history. I think anyone who suggests that it costs $0 or won't have an impact on every single American's bank accounts and the bottom dollar is a fool. We know that this is going to have impacts across the board. We're already slated to have the most expensive Thanksgiving in American history. But when you look at the actual statistics, you're seeing average middle-class families, working-class families expected to take a 30% increase in their taxes. Now, that, of course, is on top of the inflation that we're experiencing, which on average, if you look at your dollar, every 30 days, our dollar is losing about 10% of its value if these levels of inflation are to be sustained. Now, if you look at the total cost of this is projected to be about a $2.1 trillion tax increase. And we're seeing that the final price tag is the equivalent of the GDP of Mexico and Canada combined. That all falls on us, the working class. And for the White House to say that this costs zero and they want to move this through without a CBO score, I think that is disingenuous and harmful to the American people. But we already know that they don't really care because they're going to achieve their agenda no matter what. And that is what is the most scary thing about this reconciliation bill.
Congresswoman, it's actually insulting to tell the American people that it's free. I mean, the only thing free is sunshine and God's love. That's it. People aren't stupid, and they also know that all this spending, all this printing is going to cause more inflation, and that's going to hurt them. That's a tax as well. I want to move on to what's happening at our border. We've been talking about it all this morning. It is wide open. The numbers keep proving it. It gets worse and worse every day. The governor of your state has brought to light some of the secret flights that have been coming into Florida in the middle of the night, and he says he's going to send these migrants to Delaware. Why do you think the flights are coming to Florida?
Listen, I've been to the border 3 times, and there's no question about it. We have a crisis on our southwest border. And the fact remains, no matter, again, what the White House says, that there is a crisis, and every town in America is a border town. I know that for a fact to be true here in my own district because just recently, one of those unaccompanied minors actually turned out to be a 25-year-old man who murdered someone in our community. Now, when you look at the flights that are going on, the FAA has refused to give members of Congress like myself and my colleagues access to the manifest. They are covering this up at the discretion of the administration, and they will not give us information of who is coming in and when they're bringing them in. And of course, they have to do it in the dead of night because like Nancy Pelosi, you pass things in the dead of night because you don't want the American people to know what's in it. Just like this administration is flying people into our communities in the dead of night, they don't want us to know who's on those planes. So I agree with Ron DeSantis. If they really are so keen on having these undocumented illegals in our community who have been untested, unvaccinated, which again, I'm not anti-vaccine, I'm anti-mandate, but if they want these folks in our communities, let's start by sending them to San Francisco and Delaware, where the people in charge are the ones making these decisions. It's absolutely a slap in the face to every single American who has done things the right way. They pay their taxes, they are good citizens, and then of course we know you can't protect your hometowns if you can't defend the homeland, and of course this administration wants to defund police. So they are tying the hands of Americans, they are tying the hands of our first responders, and they're continuing to perpetuate this crisis at the southwest border by encouraging people to come here. And we know that.
And our own elected governors and elected representatives are not allowed to know who's on the flights.
It's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. Representative, thank you so much for your time. Kat Cammack, appreciate it.
Thank you.